Hey, racing fans, Scott Shapiro here along with Mike Beer to preview Thursday's race of the day. It comes, you guessed it, at Keeneland Racecourse. It's race number 7 there, second level allowance event over the main track. And this one drew a full field, actually slightly oversubscribed, and pretty good race to bet on here, I think, Mike. That's why the race of the day, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big field. It's a pretty challenging race. I mean, there's a lot of back class in here. You have a sort of a real wild card in the field too, with the number 2 Army officer who's switching surfaces for top connections. I mean, who knows if he's going to handle dirt, but if he does, he's got races that would make him tough. And there's a lot going on here. It's an interesting race.
Looking forward to chatting about it with you. And as almost all races do, it starts with the pace projector. We'll take a look at that. As it's interesting, you mentioned Army officer, and I really wasn't sure what to make of this. I kind of think I'd be slightly surprised if he's the pace setter, although I expect him to be prominent. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't know. Before I saw the pace projector, when I went through the race, I wasn't thinking Army officer was going to be on the lead in here, but maybe he will be. He's running some pretty fast paced turf races. So, we'll see how his connections decide to play it in this race. I don't know. I thought the pace was a little bit murky here, though, Scott. I mean, there are plenty of horses with speed, but I didn't see any real confirmed front runners.
Right. It might be contentious more than
Yeah.
real fast. And you never know how these races can go. Sometimes someone will just take control and the rest will be happy to take their positions. Before we dive into the field, which I'm looking forward to doing, just wanted to remind everybody free pass performances, as always, are available for the race of the day. Just go and click on the race of the day button and you will be all set. Free pass performances, as always. Race 7, second level allowance at Keeneland. Let's dive in, Mike, starting with a long shot along the inside and a Maryland bred at that. Number 1, Pappy's Revenge, who second start here locally. Two back was this one's most recent win, and it wasn't necessarily his fastest race, and it's not a race that I expect to have much bearing on his performance in here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though to see if he's going to show speed again in this race, guy. Because that's not the race 2 back. It's on a bull ring there at Timonium. That's like 3 or 4 turns. I'm not sure how many it is, but he just got to the front there and won it. But he does have other races where he's shown speed and run figures that at least put him on the cusp of being competitive here. I didn't like him, but he's going to be a pretty big price here, and maybe he'll show some speed.
Should be a huge price as we move to a horse that's going to take a lot more money. It'll be interesting to see how the public handles him. And that's the aforementioned number 2 Army officer, who has only raced once over the main track. He's raced over the turf 8 times, 4 all weather. The first start was the main track effort. It was not a very good one. How do you expect him to take to it? I mean, pedigree wise is okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has got a versatile pedigree. I mean, the Not This Times can do anything. He's got Uncle Mo on the bottom. I don't know. I mean, I'll say this about him. I don't like him that much as a turf horse. And so he's not really my kind of horse, Scott. I mean, his turf races are okay. I understand that he's got 1 or 2 that if he transfers them over and runs that race on dirt, it'll make him tough in here. But he goes out for Brad Cox and Irad Ortiz, and there are way too many questions for me to take any kind of a short price on him. And he's not, and I mean, he almost has to take money in this race.
Absolutely agree with that, as there's a horse that'll be a bigger price and has proven form over the dirt, has some back class, has more wins than anyone in the field. And I remember him, he was in great form in the fall in 2023 in Kentucky. I think I picked him first or second in the Clark, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years back. He's in the Carlos David barn. He ran into a horse that's won 5 in a row last time. Does he have a shot in here?
Yeah, he does. He's one of those, as you mentioned, one of those back classers in here. There are several of them, but he's one of them. He's got a bunch of races on the go back that would just make him really tough in here. And I actually feel like he's refound his, sort of good form. I think he refound it over the summer. I liked his win 2 starts back at Saratoga. I know it was a 20 claimer, but I thought he ran well in that race to get the job done. They tried to cut him back to that, mile out of the chute last time, and he's wide around the track, which is, really not where you want to be. I thought he was really game to get second in that race. I like his form. I like some of his back races. I like that morning line price on him. I'm not against this horse.
Number 4, Stowaway, around the same morning line. He's 6-1. Son of Gunrunner, third off the lengthy layoff for Whit Beckman, former Chad Brown assistant, who's done some good work, and he's done his best work, or some of it third off the layoff where he has a positive ROI. Last race was a little bit underwhelming, though.
Yeah, that might be the race that's going to hold me back, or did hold me back maybe for putting this horse on top. This is the replay right now. Now, it's at least worth pointing. this is his race 2 back. That's first off a really long layoff. He got a great trip in this race and just comes up a little flat at the end. But I feel like that's, just because it was his first start back, you want to be a little lenient. I just sort of wish he had run better last time at Churchill Downs. I thought he got a great trip in there too, and just didn't do a lot with it. I don't know, Scott. I actually feel like he's got a race that would make him really tough in here. And he's third off the layoff. So maybe you'll get his best performance yet. Thought he was a tough call, though. I don't think it's the 6-1 morning line is probably not enough for me.
Yeah, the last race was discouraging. I came in first look thinking I was going to like this horse, a horse that everybody's going to like, or I shouldn't say everybody, but the public is going to like a lot. The morning line suggests it, and he's got a lot of back class. In fact, he ran a really good race in the Derby a year ago. He almost looked like he was going to, be a competitive horse to the wire that day. And that's number 5, Resilience, who has not won since before the Derby in the Wood Memorial when he ran there as well. He followed a horse around the racetrack last time and got a good number. Where do you put him in this field?
I mean, I just think he's the horse to beat in here. I'll admit that since he's come back this year, I'm starting to get a little worried that he's just never going to move forward, because I thought he was a good 3-year-old, Scott, and he missed all that time. And I'm sort of waiting for the breakout performance now as a 4-year-old, and it certainly didn't come last time. It wasn't a poor performance, and he did get wired in that race. The winner went wire to wire, but to me, Resilience had every chance to pass that horse through the stretch. He just sort of wouldn't go by. So I just thought he was a little disappointing last time. I still think he's the horse to beat in here.
Well, a horse that's well-bred is number 6, Archie the Giza. Has not quite been as successful as his half siblings, Harvey's Little Goyle and Gosker. But where do you put him in this field? He's raced on the turf last time, but mostly on the dirt throughout his career.
Yeah, mostly on the dirt, and he's actually a couple of decent races early last year, but he's another one. He's never gone forward from that. They've come back earlier this year as a now 6-year-old. I don't like any of those performances. They went back to turf last time. That didn't work out. This horse, his form so far this year, it's a real turnoff, Scott. His turf to dirt for this race. Maybe it'll lead to a jump up here in performance, but I do not like this horse.
Number 7 is Macman, a horse that hasn't raced since mid-February at Oaklawn Park. And interestingly, if you look at his workouts, he was down in Louisiana, but never raced down there. Now back in Kentucky. Matt Shire will send him out off of a little bit of a layoff here with questions to be answered.
Got to be concerned with the layoff for sure. But this is a horse who had a long series of races there. He went about 12 months straight without getting any time off. So I sort of like that they freshened him up a little bit, and I like his overall form. Obviously, the last time we saw him, he didn't run well, and that's what led to the layoff. But before that, just in one tough allowance race after another, and just really holding his own against horses Kinetic, who beat him, he'd be the favorite in here. Surface to Air, he'd be the favorite in here. Bishop's Bay would be odds on in a race like this one, and this horse was holding his own against those horses.
Very good point. Number 8, Winnemac Avenue, 10-1 on the morning line. 1-for-1 over the surface. Spotty efforts this year thus far. Hit the board in his last 2, but has not been able to put races together for trainer Jimmy DeVito. He'll get Tyler Gaffalione aboard.
Another horse who's got, a handful of races that are going to give him a real chance in this race. And he's very fairly priced on the morning line, Scott. So I'm not going to take too hard a stand against him. I think the one knock that I had on him is all 3 of his wins since he broke his maiden. He beat a terrible field break in his maiden at Hawthorne. And since then, all 3 of his wins, just absolute perfect trips in those races. And I just, didn't know that he was going to get a perfect trip here, and he might need one to beat this field.
He might, and he would often be one that would have liked a Speed Bias as we move to number 9, a horse named Speed Bias, a horse that has some back class for sure. 4 for 27 in the career. He'll drop in class here, which is the one positive. Trainer Ron Moquette, 1 for 32 in the last 30 days. Speed Bias, we'll take a look at his effort 3 back when he had things his way at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Can he get back to his best on the slight class drop here?
Boy, I'm a little worried about him, Scott. He does get the job done here, the race that we're watching, and he's pretty game here to get the job done. But, it's his overall form recently, it's not good. He's got tons of back class. He's got plenty of races that make him tough in here. But his form surrounding this race we're watching right now is terrible. I don't like any of his races. I believe the most recent start there off the little layoff there, I think that was a race of the day as well that I did with David. And I thought it seemed like a spot where this horse could be a good price and refine his form. And he did no running in there. I just don't like the form this horse is in right now.
Right. That was a good group, but no running at all. Number 10 Unload, a 5-year-old son of Gunrunner. course, was a Steve Asmussen horse, claimed by Joe Sharp, 2-back from Ellis Park, and entered right away for a Kentucky down spot 20 days later. I kind of wonder if that was the spot they claimed for and were disappointed. Sharp, who's had a tremendous year, is cooled off of late, 7 for 57 over his last 30 days, 87-cent ROI.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that they claimed this horse and went right to turf with him on short rest. But we'll see. I don't know, because to me, there's nothing about him that screams turf. I guess as far as he goes, going back to that pace projector we were talking about before, he could be one of the speeds here, even though he's got post 10. I mean, that seemed like his running style when Asmussen had him. As a matter of fact, I feel like, Scott, that Asmussen was using this horse as a rabbit several times in those stakes races for one of his stablemates, which, I don't love about Unload. Maybe he'll make the lead in this race, but I didn't like him.
Not usually a great sign. As we move to number 11, National Eclipse, who's a Brian Williamson trainee, another guy with a positive ROI on the year. Dealt with a couple of those in our last preview. You don't see it a lot, but this horse goes third off the layoff. Is he capable of competing against this level?
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably the main question. But at 20-1, it makes it easier to sort of try to make a case for this horse. I don't think he's totally overmatched in this race. And I do feel like he could get the right kind of a trip in it because he's a really tactical, handy kind of horse. If they're going to be a bunch of horses sort of going toward the front, this horse might be able to fall into a trip at a price.
All right. As we move to the far outside, other than the AE, that's number 12, Society Man, a horse many of you may be familiar with, ran in the Kentucky Derby, not all that well, but second in the Wood Memorial, won the Matt Win. The Society Man, it's only raced once since mid-July at Saratoga, and the last two efforts weren't that good. This effort 3-back was pretty good at Saratoga at 1 mile and 1/8, but is he a horse that we've seen the best of already?
Yeah, he's another. Yeah, you wonder if he's ever going to move forward now as a foil. He's only had 4 starts this year, Scott. One of them is the one you're talking about right now that we're watching. He ran fine in this race. He was, along for second in there. I feel like Brazilians ran better than he did that day. And this horse just sort of outfinished him late to get up for second. After that, he runs in a really fast race going 9 furlongs on a muddy track. The winner got a triple-digit buyer in there, and this horse just couldn't make an impression. Last time they tried to cut him back. Trips are so important out of that chute at Saratoga, and he did not get a good one. So maybe he's a little dirtied up off of that race that we just watched.
Pretty good point. Not the toughest group he's going to ever have encountered. Number 13 is Groveland, off the also eligible list. Hasn't raced since mid-February. Any sort of shot on the dirt if he gets in?
I mean, the post would be really difficult for him to overcome, and he would certainly have to, sort of find a way to move forward, but maybe he could do it.
All right, let's go to selections now, and Mike's going to go with number 7, Macman. I did not see it beforehand, but I could tell by the quality of competition. I was a little bit worried about the fact that he hasn't raced in so long, but this is a good barn, and this horse looks like he should be a decent price at the very least.
Yeah, I'm worried about the layoff too, Scott, but I do think he fits really well in here. If he comes back, close to ready to run his good race, I think he can go with these horses. He should be, I don't know, he's going to be in that sort of 8, 9, 10-1 range. That would be enough of a price for me. I thought the 5, as you did, we both have him second. I thought he was the horse to beat, but I'll take a little shot with the 7.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a shot with Gasoline, like that you were encouraged by him as he was in Saratoga, New York, in your stomping grounds recently. So number 7, Macman for Mike. Number 3, Gasoline for me. Race 7, the race of the day. Daily racing form at Keeneland. Good luck.